So, welcome everybody.
Hi.
Welcome everybody. It seems to be the topic of conversation, but I'm not sure who's going to cry the most in the next sort of 10 or 15 minutes. But prepare yourselves, because I'm definitely going to cry. So, I'll try and hold it back as much as I can. But as you know, I'm not very good at it. But I thought we'd start with a toast. To my beautiful bride, Hannah Dallas-Wyld. There we go.
Hannah.
Hey! Good start. Hey, I got 2 pages here.
You always knew you were going to get.
Yeah, is everyone topped up? No. So I wanted to start and share some of our memories of our journey over the last 7 years, because it's been amazing. And there's been some real highlights. So I guess I wanted to start right at the very moment we sort of, I say first met, but we knew each other, didn't we? Before we first met, but my first date, and everybody is aware of the expression love at first sight. And I went round to Hannah's house on our first date. And I knocked on the door, and she opened the door with this amazing smile, and I've never forgotten it. And I know you guys will all agree with me. Her smile is amazing, and that's my very first memory that I'll never ever forget. And then we went on our first date to Bolero's. Of course, why not? And it was wonderful, and we sat and talked all night, and we kissed a little. And we kissed a little bit as well. I think eventually, and then we talked, and then all of a sudden the lights came on, and we realised we were the only people left in the whole of the restaurant, and all the staff they were waiting to go home, and. Anyway, we had to wrap up then, didn't we? And then you went off in a taxi, and that was just a wonderful night too, our very first date. And then the next few months was incredible. It was just fun and exciting, and yeah, just an incredible few months. And all I remember is I just didn't want this bubble to burst, because it was just so much fun, and it was just an incredible feeling. And thankfully, it never did. And then we moved in together into this wonderful house in Ryle in Upton. Thanks, Graham, because it was a incredible few years, and we had some great times there, great parties. Holly had the party of the century, and I'm hoping it still is the party of the century. And none of your friends have surpassed that, because it definitely was a memorable occasion. But we had an amazing time there with family and friends, and barbecues and Christmases. Yeah. And I think the record was 24, was it 25 one Christmas? And Phil was there too on that day, which was a really amazing memory too. And it was a really special few years. And I know we all loved that time in Ryle. And then, I guess I just want to go back a bit, because when I met Hannah, she was a young mum, juggling 2 kids, and here we go. Sorry, and I remember saying to Hannah, how do you kind of, and she had a part-time job, and. I said, how do you manage? And she just said, well, I just keep my head above water. And they were your exact words, weren't they? I think. Sorry. I told you it's going to be hard. And I guess, this is my most proudest. Sorry. And so, 7 years on, a hard work, a commitment, a dedication, her focus. She's become, a successful businesswoman. And, there's one thing that we can all learn from Hannah over the last 7 years, is that, if you've got a belief in yourself and a dream and a real desire, you can achieve everything you want. And
Somebody that believes in you.
and she's done that. And I'm extremely proud, but I know everybody in this room is too. So, okay. I just want to, and so Hannah has so many attributes. I just want to share some of them with you. And I know when I go through them, I'm sure you'll all recognise them and agree with me. But I guess I want to start by saying, I love you on the inside as much as on the outside because of the following. I love your generosity, albeit I think between us sometimes we end up buying a round for the whole of the pub, which seems to happen quite often, particularly when I look at the bank balance on the next morning. I love your happy face that keeps smiling all day long. And when people, and this has happened, and only recently someone came up to me in the street where we live, and we were just chatting away. He said, are you going out with that lovely, happy, smiley girl? And I went, is that Hannah? He went, Hannah, yeah. I said, yes. He said, she's incredible, she is. and that just, I was so proud, because everybody who meets Hannah, that's how they describe her. And I love your fun spirit, and your energy is infectious, but I can't always keep up with you. Maybe it's because I'm getting old, but I love how romantic you are. The hugs and the kisses, they never end, which is amazing. I also love. I love how disorganised you are, because I am too. I love how everybody loves you.
We do.
And how lucky I am to have you too. And of course I love how you sing. And so many amazing memories of you singing right from the start, and I hope that never stops. And maybe you're going to surprise us this weekend at some point. That would be nice. And I know your mum and dad feel the same too. And I adore you, I love you, and I'm very proud to be your husband.
That was amazing.
So, Fredo and Finn Bob. Oh, here we go. So when I met you 7 years ago, my God, didn't you fight? Literally. I've never known two people scrap as much as they did. I'd go around literally every night and they'd be fighting. And sadly, Finn, you were always the one that came off the worst. But you know what? He always shrugged it off, and half an hour later he'd be fine, and they'd be getting on again. And I know, Finn, that she loves you, because very often we'd wake up in the morning and Faye would be spooning you in bed.
It's because I wet the bed.
So we always knew that she loved you. And but one of the first times I took Freya and Finn out for the day on my own. I think Hannah was working. Yeah. I said because we loved our bike riding, didn't we? Well, I did. So I said, Hannah, I'll take them out on the bike ride. Have they got bikes? And she went, sort of. So I think Georgia was with us, and then Freya and Finn got their bikes out, and I was like, ooh. And I said, can they ride the bikes? And Hannah went, yes. Freya can ride a bike, Finn, just keep close to him. So we went on the bikes down the road, and we started on the pavement. And the first thing Finn did is drive straight into a car. And I was like, and we quickly gathered ourselves up, didn't we? And shot off down the road, and then went down the river. And I think within the next I think I bought you a couple of bikes for your next birthdays, didn't I? I think we definitely needed to upgrade, yeah. Anyway, I guess watching you flourish over the last 7 years has been amazing. Whether that's Freya with her music and Finn building computers, it's been a wonderful part to be with. It's been wonderful to be part of that. And I know, at times it hasn't been easy for you guys over the last few years, but you're both wonderful people, and you're definitely two of my faves. And I love you both, and Mum and I will always be there for you. Holly and Georgie.
No.
Breathe on you. Take a deep breath.
God, sorry guys. Sorry.
You're doing amazing.
Just tell them you love them, that's it.
Hey, my best friends and my amazing daughters. Sorry. God. Yeah, I just want to share a few. I want to share a few moments. No, I want to share a few things because, we've had some amazing times, and just things that resonate with me, I guess. As the endless walks that we had, and you probably don't remember. Sometimes on my back, sometimes on my front, depending on how old you were. The bike rides, Charlie liked. Georgia not so much. And there was one time when Holly was on the bike and she fell asleep in her chair. And she was slumped over the chair, and I was looking back and I felt really sorry for her. So I stopped on the grass verge, and we were in the middle of nowhere, and I took her out of the back, and we were just lying on the grass verge together for about, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour. And then one of our neighbours just drove past, and they stopped and they said, "Oh my God, what's wrong?" And I was like, I said, "Nothing, she's just fallen asleep." And kindly, he got out of his car, and his wife was in the car too, and he said, "I'll ride your bike home for you." And then we jumped in the car, and she gave us a lift home, and it was just lovely memory. And then of course there was the pub bag, and this was really an excuse for me to go to the pub. But in all seriousness, it was a lovely time, and we used to pack it with games and cards and colouring, and we used to have a ball, just spending lots of time together playing games. It was great, and then on Sunday morning, every Sunday, we used to go to the swimming pool at Malvern, and remember the wobbly log? Yeah, it was basically just me chucking the kids off the floaty thing. But lots of great memories there, and one time we came out of the pool, and I don't know if you know Malvern Splash, but it's a communal shower area.
Oh no.
And so we're all, me showering, and Georgie was only about 12 months old, she was a baby. And Holly's next to me, and there's people there. No?
I know,
and I'm bathing Georgia, because I'm holding her, washing her, and Holly's next to me, and then there's people all around us, because it's quite busy, it was a Sunday morning. And then Georgia does a whoopsie on the floor. Yeah. And you've literally, you've never seen a shower, Eric. Literally disperse, like literally, and then, yeah. And, it was a precious moment. I think you helped out, Hol. Ollie was only about 4, I think, at the time. It was a good story. And then of course, I also taught Georgie colours of the rainbow, and this is before she could write or she could read, and she was only, I don't know, maybe 2, and I was lying on the sofa one day and I said, Georgie, can you get Daddy a drink? And she went, yes, Daddy. I said, it's the yellow one, Georgie, in the fridge. So you went off to the fridge and she got my favourite can of beer, which happened to be yellow. And that was really useful for the next couple of years. Because you quite enjoyed getting Daddy a beer out of the fridge. And so, yeah, I've always been like super proud of obviously the girls, and whether that's been the netball, and which they're both, you know, heavily involved in, and watching Holly jumping these huge jumps, which still makes me nervous to the day. And Georgie singing has always been really special over the last few years with Freya too, particularly as, you know, Georgie's the only person who can sing in our family, which is. And I'll just, I'll just re-emphasise, Georgie's the only person who can sing in our family. So, I guess just to finish off, whilst leaving you 7 years ago was the hardest thing I've had to do. It's not stopped us spending time together, you know. Maybe not as much as we like, but watching you grow, and I adore you both. God.
You're doing great.
Terrible, aren't
Yeah,
I?
you're doing great.
I'm getting there now, all right? I'm getting there. Mum and Dad, God, they've always been there for me no matter what. And God, I wasn't easy when I was a teenager. And I look back now and I know that's for sure. Bloody hell. But with all your guidance and support, you know, I've always tried to be a better person, and so thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I also want to give a special thanks to Dallas. An incredible woman. Your loyalty, support, care, and friendship for your children and your grandchildren is just incredible. You're just the most devoting person I've ever met. And I know all of us and all the family here would just appreciate everything you do. And to the rest of my family, I'm sorry, I can't mention everybody, but apologies for that. But everyone in this room has played a part in my life in a positive way and helped me in different ways, no matter how big or small. So thank you, and I'm very, very grateful. So I'm nearly there now, thank you. So I guess I want a couple of toasts to finish. One is a very special thank you to Caroline and Brenda and Dallas for doing all the amazing displays that you've seen today during the wedding and are clearly here in front of you today. Caroline mostly. It's a shame they're not here, but anyway, I want to can we all give a toast to Caroline and Brenda and Dallas for all the hard work they've done, because it's been amazing. And well, that's about it. Blimey. Sorry. That feels like it was hard work. Anyway, let's have a good, fun few days. This is just the start, and yeah, one final toast to family and friends. Thank you.
Well, you did amazing.
Oh no. Do you need to say it?
Everything you said about Hannah, I say about you.
Oh, that's because you're my mum.
Well done.
As I've already said, this is the most unusual wedding speech order. It's normal for the father of the bride to speak first, then the bride, then the groom, then the best man. So you preempted a few things I wanted to say. But anyway, as they said in the Vicar of Dibley, moving on, I was going to say good afternoon, everyone, but it's now good evening. And welcome to the wedding breakfast of Hannah and Richard. The Empire State Building was completed in 12 months. A housing estate takes 2 years. It takes about 5 years to complete a Bond movie. But this day has taken 7 years. But thankfully shorter than the completion of the Southern Link Road, which was 10 years. I remember Dallas telling me in November 2017, Hannah had a date with Richard WYLDE.
2015, and it was up.
2015. Well, I was told November, and I was told it was 7 years ago, but I changed it to 8 anyway, by and by, which came as quite a surprise. Although I knew of Richard, I didn't know him apart from being drawn randomly as my partner in a golf competition at Boughton. Bad luck him. He played well, but suffered with an inferior partner. And that was probably 15, 20 years ago? It's got to be something like that.
10 plus, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a bit more than that. As it happened, on the day before their first date, I was standing on the first tee at Boughton with Richard's father, Peter. I told him his son had a hot date on the Tuesday evening, to which he replied, "He never tells me anything." After a few moments, he turned round and asked, "Who and how do you know?" I explained it was my daughter Hannah. His face was a picture, although he subsequently told me he was confused about something else, but I won't go into that. After that date, they were hardly apart. And by Christmas that year, we were having a Christmas lunch at the Anchor Diglis, where we started being introduced to Richard's family. And to this day, I've still never got to the bottom of Richard's family. I know Carrie very well, I know Pippa very well, I know Steve, obviously I know your dad, and I know your mum. Carl, I'm just getting to grips with. And I love Mason to bits. And there's other names I should be mentioning, but I can't remember.
Oi, Chris, seriously.
I mentioned you, Carrie. Oh, sorry, Victoria. Pardon?
Now there's just favouritism and you just stop.
There's so many of you. I get totally confused. Well, here we are, 7 years later, at this wonderful event. It is a great pleasure, and I mean great pleasure, to welcome Richard to our family. And I can no longer, at last, refer to him as my daughter's partner, an expression I hate. He's now my son-in-law.
Excellent.
I know Richard was the man Hannah has always longed for. And along with everyone else, Dallas and I wish them a long and happy marriage. Please raise your glasses to Hannah and Richard. I haven't quite finished. A special mention to Rory, Lizzie and Pixie, whose professionalism was exempt. Photography and videoing are a special skill organising a rabble. Finally, as Richard's already mentioned, to Caroline, Brenda and Dallas, particularly Caroline, for these wonderful table decorations. And it is also customary for the father of the bride to say how gorgeous the bridesmaids were and the bride.
Thank you.
And a special mention to Charlotte. It's a great pleasure to see you today. And seeing you look so wonderful. That's my lot. That was off the cuff.
Well done.
Can somebody get this contraption off me now?
You all knew you were going to get banter from this lot, didn't you?
I didn't realise Richie's own mum was going to heckle him. I mean, that's the harshest heckling I've ever heard in my life. What about this, Richard?
I don't know about that, mate, but after that I feel absolutely guilty. No, I do.
Are we ready? Yeah. Are we ready? Is everyone ready? Yeah! Is everyone ready? Yeah! Now we're talking. Bloody hell. Evening, everyone. Evening. Before we start, I think the one thing we can all agree on is it's been an amazing day. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. Just brilliant. Tear-jerking. This won't be that, I'll be honest. This won't be that. I know we've all been delighted to share this day with Hannah and Rich, and it's been incredibly emotional. I've cried 3 times. And, it's been tough, but it's been beautiful, and we've really enjoyed it. And I know everyone's enjoyed it. So thank you very much for putting on such a fantastic day. Really appreciate it. I'd like to thank Rich for his kind words in his speech. Delete if he doesn't thank us.
Did you? Chris was the same.
Didn't hear a thing.
Chris.
Never heard a thing.
Chris had his chance.
Thanks, buddy. Okay. Right, that's the pleasantries over. As Alan Partridge would say, let battle commence. So, for those of you who don't know me, and I've had a few questions about this today, so I'm going to clear this up for once and all.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know me, my name's Simon. And along with Paul, we've the privilege to be standing here today as Richard's best man. Now, I know that 50% of you in this room are now going, what the bloody hell is Bungle talking about? Simon? Where's that come from? He's deranged. The other 50% are thinking, oh yeah, hang on. No, I vaguely recall he was called something like that. Well, we owe this collective recollection to our wonderful friend Richard. Yeah. And his bottomless generosity, I have to say. He kindly gifted me that nickname 25 years ago, a quarter of a century. Yeah. And it's because I had the misfortune of turning up to a golf day wearing brown trousers, a brown jumper and a cap with a B on it. Once he controlled himself, well, he couldn't control himself, uncontrollable laughter, tears, gasping, struggling for breath, holding his ribs. Once he'd done all that, he managed to croak out the word, Bungle! And then introduced me to everyone as Bung or Bungle. So
I wanted to know that.
You've got it now. You've got straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, it is, that's it.
I'm delighted to say that that nickname has stuck for 25 years. I love it in a crowded pub, someone shouting, Bung! And everyone going, who's that dickhead? In fact, even my wife and children now call me Mr. B or Bungle. So I'm eternally grateful, mate. Thank you. And
No problem.
I couldn't repay you.
Thank you.
By the way, for those of you who are too young to remember, and there are a number of you in this room, Bungle was the star of a 1970s TV show. He was sort of a cross between Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Robert Pattinson, but he's much more handsome, a lot funnier, vastly wise. Yeah, so I think that kind of sums it up. A lot fairer. So, whilst preparing our thoughts for today, I sought some guidance on doing a speech and what to say and how to do it. And I talked to Linz about it, my beautiful wife, and she said, well, because music is such an important part of Hannah and Rich's life, and it's central to their life and their existence, and they love it, why don't you sing the best man speech? And I went, yeah, all right. So I can literally sing Richard's praises.
Oh my
But I said, no, I am not doing that. I said, I cannot sing, and I will not lie in front of all these wonderful people. I'll leave that to Valley. I'm sure he'll tell a few porkies about how brilliant Richard is.
Mate, you've set me like a right kipper, mate. You're on page 8 already. Okay, I say welcome this evening, guys. Going back with Rich, I think it was about 1995. I just moved in some new digs with a couple of guys. Some great guys. And, I didn't think that could be eclipsed until I saw this miracle of a man walk through the door. Now, picture the scene, ladies and gentlemen. Tight t-shirt, probably about 2 or 3 sizes too tight. Jeans, probably about 2 or 3 sizes too wide. And I think probably his favourite tasselled loafers.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, this is a man that's going to make me look good. And it was that precise moment we became really good friends. So, Rich said to me, he said, how do you fancy being a joint man? And I said, yeah, that'd be great. Unfortunately, those 2 guys that I was with are sadly not with us at the moment. They haven't died, they just didn't make the best men cut. But he said, how do you fancy being the best man? I said, yeah, we'll be up for that. So I think it was probably about 2 months ago, we said, look, we better sit down and write some words. And we were in Croyd, the weather's fantastic, the waves were pretty good, and Bungle and I were doing a bit of surfing, and we hit this really big 2-foot rip curl. And Bungle said to me, he said, Valley, we've got to sit down and do this speech. So last night, we sat down, and we started the speech. But Rich, he's a slippery, wasn't he? He's too professional. We haven't got much on him. He's covered all his bases. But I think before we go into, I feel almost guilty now after that, all those tears. I think before we go into the sort of the treading of Rich, there's a few formalities that we perhaps need to clear up.
I agree, mate. So, firstly, we've had a fantastic day. We all know that. It's clear there's a huge amount of planning and organisation and effort that's gone into such a wonderful day, and everyone enjoyed themselves. So, I think, firstly, we'd just like to have a quick round of applause for all those people that have helped Hannah and Rich making this day so special, and I think they'd like to give a big thank you as well. Secondly, we'd like to thank the beautiful bridesmaids. They're amazing, did a fantastic job, absolutely wonderful, and I think a round of applause to them would be well deserved. Yeah. Well done, girls. And not forgetting, of course, the beautiful Ava, who did a tremendous job as a flower girl. Absolutely brilliant. Well done, Ava. Yeah, Ava. Under the table. And finally, and most importantly...
You scrubbed it well.
Not him. Hannah, you look absolutely beautiful. Absolutely amazing. I cried when you walked down the aisle. You're beautiful and you've had a just fantastic time.
Okay, so where are we now? Open with a gag. Beautiful bridesmaids.
Done.
Ushers. Check.
Done. Ushers?
Usher. Singular. The bride to babe. Check. Mr. Wilde. As I said, we'd spent countless minutes on this speech, But only this morning, Rich came up to us and said, well, his OCD was up to the brim. And said, lads, you've been great. You've been loyal over the years. You're far more stylish than we are. I am, sorry. Please don't embarrass me. And please go easy on the speech. So, to be absolutely sure we didn't embarrass him, we handed us a list of all the things we're not allowed to talk about. We've got that. No, we've lost that speech. We'll keep to the script. Now, you know Rich very well, some of you all your lives. But did you know Rich has a split personality? Listen carefully, Dorothy. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Now, number 1, style icon. We all know that Rich considers himself a bit of an icon with his unique fashion sense, including dress for such things as an Alice band, an orange dog-tooth jacket complete with suede elbow patches, and a pair of highly polished, what I can only describe as clown shoes. All that was missing was a big red nose and some white makeup. Because of his distinct look, he was often confused with celebrities, being mistaken for famous people such as Fat Grealish, Mickey Flanagan, Vincent Vega, and Coco the Clown. Number 2, alcohol. We all know that Rich is a man who enjoys a couple of beers. However, he's not a man who says, sorry boys, I've had enough, I'm going to bed. He'll keep going till the bitter end. And that brings us on to number 3, 4 and 5.
Public nuisance. Now, as I said, Rich has a split personality. There's things that Rich said to us that not even Hannah's parents know. I'm sure there's things that even Pete and Victoria don't know. There was the occasion, for example, when there was a slight account with the law when Mr. Wilde was brought into custody with Mr. Russell Tame, who isn't with us today. And I can remember the desk sergeant's face. At the desk, he said, "Wilde and Tame, your names are Wilde and Tame." Really? Lock 'em up. That's a true story. Move on. No, I wasn't actually. The end of the story was, I actually made a little escape. I was the 4th suspect. and my girlfriend at the time phoned the police station and said, "Is my boyfriend there?" Of which they said, "No, but what's his name?" That's another story.
Yes, it wouldn't have been as funny to have Valley in the
That's harsh. So number 4 on the list is gratuitous nakedness. The first time I ever met Rich, we went out for a few beers. It was about 6 in the evening. We had a couple, we had a great laugh, we were really getting on. We knew that we were going to be mates. We knew it was going to go well. We were having a brilliant time. So Rich said, "Come on, we'll go to the Red Lion at Powick. We'll have a couple of beers there." I said, "Great, sounds good, never been there before." So we stroll through the door, Rich goes up to the bar. I go to the loo because I need a tibble. I come out literally moments later. I'm not talking about 10 minutes, moments later. There's a massive crowd around the bar. People cheering and taking photos. I'm like, well, that wasn't there when I walked in. What's going on? So I elbow my way to the front. I get there, and there's Rich behind the bar, serving pints, chatting to people, taking selfies, taking the money, putting it in the till, and a tiny little pile of cloves right at the end of the bar. Which explains why everyone was cheering and laughing so much. So my first thought was, you're right, Richard, it's incredibly cold in here. My second thought was, he's going to be my best mate because he's going to make me look brilliant.
So I think we conclude that Rich is a man that hates being clothed. An aversion to clothing. But on a serious note, Simon and myself, and I'm sure your mum and dad are really proud, couldn't be prouder that you've kept your trousers on for the photographs. We received a text message about 3 o'clock from Saz as well, to say, thank God there wasn't any roses on the top table. So, that's a private joke. But.
So number 5, falling asleep. It was interesting to hear Richard's story about Holly because clearly the apple never falls far from the tree. Most mammals have an inbuilt mechanism where they want to go to sleep. They find somewhere safe to curl up. Richard clearly skipped that chapter in the mammal handbook. Once tired, his sleep can commence anywhere, and I mean literally anywhere. So, including, but not limited to, these eyewitnessed, I'm not making these up, these are eyewitness situations. In his own dinner. In someone else's dinner. On a bar table. On the floor of a pub garden. Reasonable. On the toilet.
Check.
Standing up, leaning against a huge speaker, playing incredibly loud drum and bass.
I was waiting for that one. How can anyone...
Even I don't know I did that.
In a Devonshire hedge. On various sofas, and I'm not going to go into detail here, Richard, so don't worry. But to awaken covered in very interesting artwork. Some of it by his own children, I think. So, now where were we? So, stunning bride. Embarrass the groom. Hopefully we've done that a little bit. Say something meaningful. Well, yeah, okay. Rich, it's been an honour and a pleasure for both Paul and I to be your best men. You're incredibly special to both of us and to everyone in this room.
I'd say you're a role model of a friend, father and a man. You've met an amazing woman in Hannah, and quite literally she'll laugh at anything, and is obviously easy pleased. I think I speak for everyone here today that I wish you both a very happy future together. Now, Simon and I are probably the least people to sort of give you some advice, but we should, as tradition says. And I heard a quote that said, "May your love be modern enough to survive the times and old-fashioned enough to last forever." So, ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding and you raise your glasses to the bride and groom. Rich and Hannah. We love you both. We love you.
That was amazing.
Well done.
I'm crying.
I'm glad that's over.
Well done, sir. Great. Well done, mate. Love you. Love you, mate.
Okay. Yeah, not keeping with tradition, and I think my speech is going to be quite quick. A lot has been said tonight, which I think has covered lots of lovely, warm and meaningful words. But I guess I just want to say that standing here, I need to pinch myself that this is actually happening. And that's how I felt since meeting you, Richard. The butterflies are here. 7 years on, I don't think they'll ever go. Thank you to the Wildes for welcoming me to your family. But I think a special mention should be made for Pips, who Richard very kindly hired to decorate my living room within the first 2 weeks of us meeting. She gave me all the do's and don'ts. I.e., don't wear too much makeup. Rich doesn't like too much makeup. Thinking back, she was just vetting me for you all. I know that, yeah? Love you, Pips. Rich touched on it earlier. When I met Rich, I had very little confidence and self-belief. Blah, blah, violin. To connect with someone like I have Richard was anything beyond anything I could have ever imagined. A true mentor, best friend, business partner, and now husband. We were both coming from really difficult places, and that shouldn't be ignored. But it felt amazing from our very first date. Even my Nana Phil knew it was meant to be. We love her and miss her very much. And I'd just like to raise a toast to Phyllis. I know we have already, but... Also to Nanny Pat. I know you've always approved of Richard. Wink, wink. Especially when he's in a suit, so it's your lucky day. When Rich and I met, we had a blended family to consider. Our 4 brilliant and amazing children that we had to introduce aged 12, 9 and 8. And we've been so incredibly lucky, and we are so proud of the young adults that you've become. You're all so amazing and gorgeous and talented in your own traits and rights. Thank you to Holly and Georgia for accepting me as your stepmom. But most importantly, I hope your friend. And I want you to know you can always come to me with anything. I know I speak on behalf of Freya and Finn for Richard, but I know that they're so grateful to have you in their lives. Your words of fun, banter, and more importantly, guidance and support they will forever appreciate. Thank you, Richard, for being a great stepdad to my children. I'm so incredibly proud of you, Freya and Finn. You make me proud every day, and I'm so honoured to be your mum. Freya, basically my mini-me, which is probably why we butt heads occasionally. That said, I'm so proud of the gorgeous, young, loyal lady you're becoming. And are. Finn, you outstand me every day with your intelligent debates, which you're way too clever for me for. Top school grades. You're so dedicated and determined to do well in life, and I can't wait to see where your path takes you. And a big shout out to Freya, Archie, Ben and Holly for smashing GCSEs and A-levels this year. Thank you, Ava, for being the most beautiful flower girl today. I hope you love your necklace. And Hugo Mason for scoring high on the super cute board. Thank you to Mom and Dad, who celebrated 39 years at the 1st of October this year. Well, sorry, just gone. Thank you for my amazing upbringing and teaching me how to eventually stand on my own 2 feet. Thank you for giving me my sisters, Holly and Harriet. I love you both very much.
Love you.
And thank you to Richard for giving me even more sisters. Carrie, Pitts and Danny. Love you all. Thank you to my best friend Charlotte. Stand up. Thank you to my best friend Charlotte. Hello. What a year for you. And I'm so proud to be friends with such a strong and powerful woman. I'm so excited to be part of one of the most exciting chapters of your life. And I can't wait to help welcome your little man into this crazy world. And you're going to smash motherhood. I love you. Love you. Love you. To all my familama, new, present, I love you. Now I'd just like to end the speeches to sing a song for my husband.
My lonely days are over. And life isn't like a song. heart is wrapped in clover. The night I looked at you, oh, I found a dream that I could speak to, a dream that I can call my own. I found a thrill to rest my cheek to, a thrill that I have never known. Oh yeah, when you smile, you smile, yeah. Oh, and then the spell was cast. And here we are in heaven. For you are mine,
Yeah.